Hey guys, so today we're going to take a look at some books I picked up over the last couple months here. Most of them from the local store, and they're all having to do with the Phantom. Now, if you're not sure who the Phantom is, you might be, you might know of him from the movie in the late 90s with Billy Zane. Billy Zane was the bad guy in Titanic, I guess the rich guy that Kate Winslet was running away from. I've never actually watched that whole movie through, but I know Billy Zane is mostly known from that movie. So he played the Phantom in the late '90s in a movie with I think it was actually Catherine Zeta-Jones's first major role. The movie did not do good. It was a bit campy. If you remember The Rocketeer, it was campier than The Rocketeer, but about the same as far as overall quality. It's okay, but it's not, you know. For those of us that know the comic book backgrounds of both those characters, not the best. But another place you might know the Phantom from, if you're a '80s child, is Defenders of the Earth. Was a syndicated TV show back in the late '80s. It had the Phantom and also some other King Features characters, so Flash Gordon, Mandrake the Magician, Lothar, and that was a series that went on for, I believe, a couple seasons. I have a box set here at home. I think it's just 2, maybe 3 seasons, and that was one of my favorite shows as a kid. So I got into the Phantom pretty big. Had an action figure for him and Flash Gordon, and I believe Mandrake also. And they're not as prevalent nowadays. Sometimes you'll see a publisher come out with some Phantom comics, and then they seem to lose the license pretty quick. Or you'll see a Flash Gordon series, going on for a little while, and then it kind of disappears. But it's a character that was created back in the '30s by Lee Falk, and basically is one of the first masked superheroes basically ever created. So it's actually pretty big in other countries. You can go on eBay and see quite a few comics from time periods that they weren't even being published in the US, but they'll be in French or Italian or parts of Africa, things like that. So this was a Gold Key issue I picked up. The Gold Keys are those. They're a bit older, and they're the extra wide golden age size. So picked this one up. It wasn't horribly expensive, and the sale was everything was half off, and I just like this cover here. So picked that one up. I don't normally pick up too much Gold Key simply because their stories are rather dated. You can tell that they were just kind of putting these things out there to make $1. Nothing horribly in depth. So I don't normally pick these up, but just the cover alone, this one was worth plopping down a few bucks. So this one's more recent. This is the Phantom from DC Comics during the late '80s. They had the license for a good amount of years, mostly late '80s into the early '90s. Then Marvel had the license for a little while. They did a couple miniseries, and then eventually Dynamite did a run that was pretty well done. I think there was somebody before. Before Dynamite, there was a Moonstone. Did a run. Moonstone is a very small publisher, and they had the license for a while. They had some really nice covers, and they had some high quality guys on this book for a while. So they had the license for a good amount of time. Then Dynamite came in. Alex Ross did some covers. They kind of updated the character. And then now he's, every now and then I'll see an issue by a small publisher here and there, but as far as like finding it in the local comic book stores, that can get a bit iffy. So most of the back issues you see are Gold Key or DC or that Marvel run, and if you're lucky, maybe some of the Moonstone run. But you don't tend to find too many of these. So this is on number 5 from that DC launch. This is a full year later, so I think that last one was more of a like a mini series. This was when they started a full ongoing series. It's written by Mark Verheiden, which I believe he had something to do with the RoboCop movie. And I know he's done work on Superman and Action Comics over the years, but this particular DC series, it's okay. The stories are very well, I wouldn't say dated, but they're very topical. It's all it'll be things about environmentalism or things that were big issues as far as society in the day. So for those who don't know, the Phantom he's a character who his base of operations is out of Africa. So a lot of the times you'll see stories that center on issues in that region. So, hunting of endangered animals, or mining, or ethnic groups being enslaved or dealt with poorly, things like that. So that series was rather topical, as you can see from this cover here, where it looks like some toxic waste has been dumped in a local region, and the Phantom's there to get the bottom of it, and obviously they're using this as a way to get the word out about things that are going on in other countries that we might not be aware of. So this one's a cool looking cover, gold fever there in the bottom, so they're probably forcing people to mine. The Phantom, he's always had this pretty classic looking costume. He's got the purple leotard one suit here. He's got the belt with the skull on it. He always carries a couple of 1911 pistols with him, and then the boots, and he has 2 rings. I'll see if they probably show up on one of the covers here. I'll go over them then, but it's a very classic, easy costume, just the purple. He's got the little domino mask. He is one of the first characters, if not the first, I think he is the first, where the pupils in the mask were whited out, so he had a kind of otherworldly look to him. And it is very, striking. You see it now all the time in, Batman and all these superheroes. Their pupils are whited out when they put the mask on, which, realistically, as we see in the movies, that's not how it normally would really look. But the Phantom is where they all got that. Here's another one where it looks like some blind folk are being being forced to, I guess they're either working on a plantation or harvesting here. Like I said, again, it's very topical for the region. They'll have guerrilla fighters and things like that that the Phantom has to contend with. So getting towards the end of the DC run. This is issue 11 from 1990. Still Mark Verheiden on the writing duties. See the Phantom hanging off the plane here. I think this series went for about, just about 12 issues. This next one is issue 12, and I don't know that I've come across anything that's dated any further. This one's from February of 1990. And here you see the Ghost Who Walks. That's one of his monikers. Because basically the Phantom is one guy, but the mantle is handed down from father to son, so those who don't know him, aren't in his familial or trusted circle, they all believe him to be one man over years and years and years. But it's just father to son training and then passing down the mantle eventually when somebody passes away. So Ghost Who Walks is just a moniker based on the fact that people think he's just one person who's been active for hundreds of years. So. This was a recent reboot they had by Dynamite Comics under the King Syndicate. So this was they did a couple series. They did a Phantom mini-series and I believe a Flash Gordon ongoing, and then also a Mandrake mini-series, and then eventually it tied into a crossover called King's Watch, and then they had a few series after that. So this is the series after it. During King's Watch, the Phantom mantle is actually handed down to another person, so this is the Phantom after the most recent. I won't give any spoilers just in case somebody's going to read it, but that's, I think this one went on for maybe just 5 or 6 issues. It was a short run. I think they were basically just trying to clean up, any loose ends from the mini and kind of go from there, but I think they might have, I don't know if these people lose the license this quickly or if interest just isn't enough to keep it going, but it didn't go on for too much longer after that. This is an older one from Charlatan. Not sure what year, but the cover price here is 15 cents. One of the big things with the Phantom is he's most of the time he is fighting pirates, which obviously makes it a little dated. I mean, sure, we still have pirates, but I don't think it's something that people tend to think of, especially in this region. I mean, in along the coastal areas of Africa or war-torn countries, you might have pirates, but here in the U.S. or Canada, I don't think pirates are a big worry for us these days. So it does come off a little silly sometimes that he's always happening upon these pirates who we probably wouldn't see around much nowadays. Here's another one from Charlatan. This one looks like he's being led into an arena, almost like the I've lost the word, the ancient Roman arena. He's being led there by some legionnaires, and he is going to fight what appears to be a giant ape. So, Lord knows what is going on here. The Charlatan Phantom comics do tend to be a little wonky. There are a couple where he's literally fighting little green men in flying saucers, and it's just treated so matter-of-factly. There's no lead-up. It's just, aliens land, the Phantom shows up, they get into an altercation. And a lot of these, too, they're all, you'll get multiple stories per issue, so this will probably have 3, maybe 5-page stories in it, and they all are dealt with rather quickly. It can be a little jarring and a little silly sometimes. Let's see. I was going to talk about the rings up here on the top. There's a picture of a skull. He has basically, the Phantom is known for 2 rings. He has a skull ring on his right hand, which is the bad ring. It's the one he punches people with, basically. And when he punches you, if you're a bad guy, it leaves a mark, so he knows that, you know, if he sees you in the future, you have a skull-shaped scar on your face, and he knows that he's dealt with you before. And then on his left hand, he has what's called the good ring. The good ring is it's basically supposed to be the 4 swords of the 3 musketeers. I know that sounds funny, but there were 4 musketeers, not 3. And the swords are pointed inwards, you know, almost like when people put their hands over each other's to show companionship. And that one, he can mark people with it. Not sure how, because, you know, he's not punching them, but he marks them so that he knows that in the future he can trust them, that they're a trusted friend or a trusted confidant. So this one has the Sing pirates in it. The Sing pirates are his main adversary, and over the years they've updated the idea of them. So, you know, at first they were just pirates, and then for some things they were, you know, corporate jerkwads, basically. And they were always kind of just messing with the idea of the Sing pirates and what they might have turned into. This one I just like the cover too. It's like painterly style here. Phantom looks to be fighting some sort of Tarzan ape man. Again, not sure what's going on, because there's probably 3 or 4 stories in this issue, but, you know, just the look of the Phantom on this one. I just love that painterly look. This is one that somehow I picked up twice, and not even sure why, because it is not the best drawing on the front, but I got a couple issues. I noticed when I was getting ready for this that one of them has the kid's name written on here. It looks like Andy on this. He put his name right on the front, in between the bars of the jail. This one thankfully doesn't have that. This might be his dog. He has a dog/wolf named Devil, and he has a horse named Hero. Not sure if this is Devil, because I'm assuming that this is his love interest. So if she's being attacked by a devil, then something's up. Maybe he got rabies or something. Last one here is issue 74 from Charlatan. I just love this cover. He's got a pistol in one hand. He's got a sword. I think this is one thing you'll see with the Phantom comics is they will routinely do not a time travel story, but they'll look back on a previous Phantom's adventures. And I believe this one's probably having to do with looks like there might be like a Declaration of Independence in the background, and, you know, there's the war-torn American flag, so I have a feeling this is going to be something about the Revolution, and it's just a great painted cover. I just love the look of the Phantom. This maybe the 1700s version of the Phantom, and he's got these old style, like, pirate pistols. It's just a beautiful look to it. If this doesn't make you want to read a Phantom comic, I'm not sure what would at that point. So that's all the Phantom comics I got recently. I do have quite the collection, so I've all the Moonstone and Dynamite stuff I have already. Same thing with the Marvels, so just trying to pick up the older ones from companies that I don't have. But that was it for today, guys. I hope you have a good one, and we'll see you next time.